Verbinde die Welt.
Hakuna, Noderunner, Germany.
Street Fighter is the highest grossing fighting game at all time at US dollars 12.2 billion. The first game in the series was released in 1987 by Capcom. Is Ryu your favorite fighting character?
Yes.
Do you prefer Indian food over Thai food?
Yes.
Is it true that you run more than one lightning node?
Yes.
The most famous and renowned athlete in the history of MMA mixed martial arts is the notorious Conor McGregor. But is he also the greatest of all time?
No.
Matthew Walker is an English scientist and professor of neuroscience and psychology. He spent 4 years writing the book Why We Sleep, in which he asserts the sleep deprivation is linked to numerous diseases, including dementia. Do you sleep more after reading the book?
Yes.
Do you take all your decisions based on data?
No.
In 1992, Rage Against the Machine released their debut album with classics such as Bomb Track and Killing in a Name. Are you aware they used as album artwork a crop of Malcolm Browne's famous photograph of the self-immolation of Tinh Quang Du, a Vietnamese Buddhist monk in Saigon in 1963?
No.
Hakuna Matata is a Swahili language phrase from East Africa, meaning no trouble or no worries, and take it easy. Is this your motto?
Yes.
Will it be possible to get drunk and pay for your beer with Lightning at Oktoberfest 2025?
Yes.
Are you Satoshi Nakamoto?
No.
Welcome to the Connected World Weekly Podcast. I'm Edward.
And I'm Stef. We are ready to take you with us into the beautiful world of the Lightning Network.
Enjoy the ride. This is episode 16 of Connected World. Nice to see you again, Stef.
Nice to see you, Edward. Nice to see you. The weather is getting better and better here in Holland.
Exactly. I like the sun.
Man.
It gives me energy.
I miss the sun. It's
exactly.
I really enjoy the weather and always putting a bit of a smile on my face.
In these times, we need it. So that's nice. And I was immediately thinking about last episide because we had Jack there.
Yeah.
And I'm still gaming, of course. So
did you win some Satoshis actually, Edward?
Yeah, exactly.
How many did you win?
Some. No, it's not very much. Something about 175 sats. So that's not very much. But yeah. And of course, if you play more, then you win more. But I've also other things to do. but it's nice. Yeah, and this week it's totally different because the guest is a whole other area of expertise. So that's nice. Yeah, Hakuna is going to join us, and he's an IT specialist from Germany and runs a very successful routing node. And I think a lot of listeners will like that because it's interesting to know more about it and to know what you can do or tweak or where you can find your metrics to test because his node is in the top 50 boss score. So that's
cool, man.
A lot.
I think
I don't think our nodes will compete with that.
Oh no! I to be honest with you, I don't manage it very actively nowadays.
No, me neither.
I participated in the Zero Fee February, and then I thought I think a couple of days ago, my fees are still on zero, so I did raise them again a bit, but I'm fine with it. I just use my node to pay for my beers or my food in the restaurant of Jan, the Roemer in Haarlem in Holland, or maybe at a meeting or something. And don't need to be a very profitable node. I think a meeting
is coming, right, in April?
There's one planned again.
Exactly, and me too. I'm going to use it, of course, and there are a lot of strategies. So routing node, well, it's not for everyone, but I think it's interesting to know how we.
But you are planning to build a bigger node, right? So it's
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so it's also interesting for you.
But I was studying about another guest that is coming, and I thought, well, maybe I need to try something a little differently. So I'm still not actually doing it, but I'm thinking about how to do it.
Cool.
So well. I'll see about that.
Yeah, no, well, keep us updated.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks,
I will.
man.
Thanks.
Hey, let's start to talk a little bit about the statistics of the Lightning Network and about our Rings of Fire community first, because the second part will be with Hakuna.
Yes, have fun.
Have fun.
Conecta el mundo.
So last week we had a little over 26 Bitcoin pushed into the Lightning Network, and this week it's 26.75. with around 894 members participating in over 111 rings. So we added 74 million Satoshis to the network this week, Edward.
Again, a lot. Yeah. And 111 rings. It's a nice number.
Yeah, nice number. Yeah. And still waiting for the members to increase and to blow through the 1,000 members participating in our ring. So
exactly. Yeah, well, you have something to talk about later on about a ring that's almost full.
Yeah.
So that's nice. We're now at block height 727,336. And the Lightning Network as a whole, if we look at it, we have 67 nodes more than last week. So over 20,600 and 67 Bitcoin more than last week. I think that's a lot.
Yeah,
it's funny because it's 67 nodes and 67 Bitcoin. So it's 1 Bitcoin per node, something like that. It's not true, of course, but it's nice to see those numbers. It's an all-time high because we have now 3,527 Bitcoin in the network capacity. Of all Lightning nodes. So that's
impressive.
Amazing.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's really impressive. Well, and today's value of 1 million Satoshis is $387, 355 euros, and 2,400 Chinese yuan.
Connect the world.
Well, Stef, for today, the news starts with something very important, but it ends well, so that's nice. The MiCA proposal, because the adjusted MiCA proposal has been rejected by the Econ Committee of the EU Parliament. 32 voted against and 24 in favor. That means that they do not agree with a ban of proof-of-work-based crypto services by 2025.
Yeah.
It
was
you
close.
talked about and you said to me there was a lot of discussion.
Yeah, within our community, and normally I'm not that nervous, but some of our well known and high respected community members started to get a bit nervous. So after all, I was also a bit nervous, getting a bit nervous indeed. And but I think it's good. I think it's off the table now. So. Get away with this.
Everyone can relax.
Yeah, everyone can chill now.
So I think we need to cheer about that, right?
Yeah, we can.
I think it's very important because this ban means that it can also be a signal, a positive signal. What you said before to me about making it greener, and I think it's some kind of wake up call, but also maybe a lot of FUD. So I don't know. I'm doubting about it.
Yeah.
Mixed feelings, exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's nice because I didn't follow this news part, and I thought, I saw it, but I didn't. The voting is not important. If it's against, it's against.
No, okay.
The Block hardware wallet update, that was interesting. Block, Block, right? Formerly known as Square. And they shared an initial vision for a Square-built hardware wallet. And in their latest article, they shared a little bit more about the development about it. And it will be a mobile application. And that way, they can make the hardware less expensive. So with the mobile application, you can control it. It will have a fingerprint sensor for authentication and a rechargeable battery and a USB-C port. And the interaction with the hardware wallet is only needed to authorize larger or less frequent transactions above an amount of your choosing. So you can choose yourself.
Cool.
I think it's interesting to read. We will put it in the show notes.
Yeah, is the design already released? Or?
No, I was I was searching for it. It's called Block, so it needs to be something square, I think. I don't know.
Nice one, that's it.
Yeah, exactly. Bitcoin fixes this. It's an interesting article on CoinDesk last week about Eric Garcia Cruz, a 35-year-old programmer living in Cuba, because more than 60 banks and payment platforms have rejected him due to the economic embargo imposed by the US. And if you're interested in reading it, we will put it in the show notes. I think it's an amazing story about the power of Bitcoin and what it can fix for some people that are under economic embargo. It's a real solution. And then the last thing about Biden, he signed an executive order about digital assets. I think some listeners have read it. Jerry Brito, executive director of Coin Center, wrote a Twitter thread, it's his take on the executive order. So again, check the show notes and read it. It's interesting to read. And there was one update worth mentioning. The Lightning Development Kit adds support for Phantom Node payments and better payment pathfinding.
Cool.
Verbind de wereld.
So let's have a look at the rings forecast, because we have only 3 spots left in the 500k 29th ring. And we have only 1 spot left in the 10 million Satoshis 5th ring. And
that's a nice one.
Especially the last one is something we don't see very often. So if you're looking for a ring of fire with high liquidity channels, then please join our Telegram group and sign up for that one. We had, I saw in the women only ring, there was a girl joining from Philippines. So that's also our first member from the Philippines. So that's nice.
Yet another country.
Another flag added to our Hall of Fame. So that's interesting. Talking about new flags, actually, ring stories, anecdotes. We have the 5 million Satoshis 14th ring. And we had balanced that one last week with node operators from Germany, Spain, Austria, the United States, and Taiwan. And I think that was also the first one from Taiwan, if I remember well. And then we have the 3 million Satoshis 12th ring with node operators from Germany, Holland, the USA, and Japan, also balanced last week. So I think it was Finky who balanced the ring from Taiwan. And the 3 million Satoshis, I'm not sure who balanced that one. Let me find out very quick. Show the message. It was, that was Finky. Okay, that was Finky. And then the 5 million Satoshis 14th ring was balanced by, let me check, DJ Maestro. So
that's a
really
nice
nice job, guys. And nice to have someone from Taiwan within our community.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're done here. Thanks, Stef. And heading to the lightning notes.
Yes.
See you later, alligator.
See you later.
Spojte svět dohromady.
Make sure to secure your home network. So change default passwords and use two-factor authentication where possible. And keep your software up to date. It's also very important. Please keep in mind that the whole Lightning network is very experimental. Software like MyNode, Umbrel, Raspberry Blitz, for example, and many others, and LND also, are still in beta phase. Don't blindly run terminal commands on your node if you don't understand them yourself, and especially when prefixed with sudo. And the last one is also very important. Don't use Satoshis that you're not willing to lose. So if you're not aware of all security considerations, then read into it. Educate yourself, read articles, ask for help in Telegram groups with high reputation like ours, and listen to podcasts and learn by doing. Otherwise, don't participate.
Also, you can stay informed by following us on Twitter. You can find us at Satoshi Radio ROF. and follow our Lightning leader, Jonī Kyasshu. Join our Telegram groups, Satoshi Radio, Ring of Fire, and Connect the World. And check our website, satoshi.radio. It would be nice for you to be part of our Amboss community. You can find us there on Satoshi Radio. And like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Use Podcasting 2.0 to listen to Connect the World. And you can check SAT trading for the current value. You can find all this information, of course, also in the show notes as well.
All right, let's get on to the show.
Connect the world.
Hey, Hakuna, we're excited to have you in our podcast. Good to have you here. How are you, man?
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm pretty good. I'm doing well.
Cool, man. Nice to meet you. And the first thing that's popping up in my head is that you answered that you're running more than one Lightning node. But why is that? And are they all on mainnet, or are some of them on testnet, or?
Good question, Stef. And it's a bit of a mix. So two things got me motivated to run a node. A, as you put more money on the stake, and money meaning hard money, Bitcoin, things get a little hairy. Testing out things with Bitcoin is risky. And so I have a second node where I'm testing new stuff, new functionality. Not so much liquidity on it, so I don't feel pulling my hair when things go AWOL. So that's a bit of keeping it sane, and I like to test different infrastructure as well. So LND is one. There's lots of stuff going on in Twitter right now of what's the best node running infrastructure, and I think it's good to keep an open mind by testing things and have skin in the game and see it by yourself instead of trusting others.
But they are both on mainnet then, right?
They're both on mainnet. Well, I have a third one, which is a test node, which is running VPN stuff. It's not on mainnet, but both of them are on mainnet. Both of them can be found on Amboss.
I think it's also nice for listeners that if you want to test things, the easy way and not to get troubles or something, then try to if your second node comes in time, of course, because there's a lot of problems with the chips. But I think it's great for to discover more, and then you go more in depth and you try some other things than with the hard money on it. So, yeah.
Totally agree. There are some. So there is a great guy on Umbrel forum, Darthcoin he's called. He's also really famous of having lots of different implementations in mind. And he had an infrastructure which I haven't realized yet, but he is playing with the mind of having one front node, then a secret node behind, only with private channels. We are not very political, but saying of like what's going on in Canada, etc., of kind of hiding your liquidity and making things a little bit more underground. That setup with a secret node in behind is also something I wanted to play with, but I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, and the Underground Lightning Network, that's also an article I've read some time ago. And that was talking about if it's going to be something like private channels someday, perhaps. I don't know, but it's an interesting thought. Yeah. I saw something and I just wanted to ask to you because I saw your website and you're using y.add with the emojis. So you put in an emoji as an URL and then you go to your website. And you put it there very big, so I thought perhaps it really, of course it really means something to you. Can you explain it? The emojis that you use, and well, the lightning, of course. That's simple.
So I think that's me as an old guy trying to be a millennial or trying to understand the millennials as well. So I'm not very in the trenches of NFTs and all that stuff. But Yat was something I found interesting because it's a protocol thing. All us old internet nerds, we know a URL has characters and it looks this way. And then the next generation is all about emojis and voice messages, right? And so I'm not doing like my father who thinks programming your VHS is already like hard nerd stuff. I want to keep up with the young things. But on a more serious note, I think Yacht is something which I just played around with, paid a few bucks and see how it works out. But it's just a little playground.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
It's funny. I was also thinking Darth Gordon, right? Stef is in our community. So if someone has a question or something.
And I don't know what his profession is, but he's always online.
And he wrote a lot of.
But he's very helpful, and we really like that, of course.
He wrote a lot of guides, and for beginners, it's nice.
Yeah. And I don't know if he is featuring on a podcast very often, but I think it may be good to have him as a future guest, because very interesting guy to talk to.
Super interesting,
I think
super
also
helpful as well. I think that would be a great asset.
I wrote something down, Stef, and I don't know if you want to ask it.
Yeah, but I really want to ask this to Hakuna, because during the Bitcoin winter in 2018, you called transferring Bitcoin to your Lightning node "it hurts when I pee."
Yeah,
and then I pee. So
so not peeing in the way of peeing, but I pee. So, is this true? And how are you doing now?
Well, that was, you may have caught this as well, I think it was a trend back in the days of calling your Wi-Fi at home so neighbors get scared. So some FBI or some German type of secret agency name. And I stumbled over an article who had proposals on how to call your Wi-Fi to be funny. And it hurts when IP was kind of resonating with me. So I used that for my first node back in 2018. Yeah.
It's really fun.
It wasn't very
really
successful,
called your node
though.
like that. And now your node is called HODLmeTight. So that's also fun.
Yeah, it's that's an anecdote to anyone who knows Europop back in the 80s. That was Roxanne who Roxette, not Roxanne. Sorry, Roxanne was Sting. So Roxette was a Swedish band, and they sang that song "Dangerous," and that was the inspiration for my node.
Cool,
great,
nice anecdotes, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we have all kinds of questions for you about your vision on the Lightning Network. But also I think it's very interesting to talk to you about running your node, because as you already told us that you have quite some experience with that. So we are very interested to ask you some of the questions about that subject. So but it has to be in the 21 minutes part, guys. So. If Hakuna, if you are ready, and you also, Edward, of course, we would like to enter that part, guys. Are you ready?
Born ready.
Cool.
All right.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Connecter le monde.
Well, to start up, I see here, what was your first experience with the Lightning Network? And do you still know what you saw, what you did back then?
Yeah. I bought, I'm not sure many people know it. They're still around. One favorite guy who is very well known in Lightning is James Loeb. He's a CTO of a company called Casa. And back in the days, you could buy a full-fledged node. So back in the days is end of 2018. I got my first Casa HODL, which was a ready-made Raspberry Pi, a Pi 3. You plug it in, and then you have a Lightning node. When I bought it, I had no idea what this was all about. I bought the hardware without knowing what I was signing up for. And then when it got through customs, I paid a heavy fee for customs because they didn't know what it is, and there was no bill or anything. But I got it, I plugged it in, and then there was a nice UI, and then you could put some BTC on it, and then what? So I basically had no idea what the intention was. But I still put some sets on it. Then there was an auto bot or auto channel button, and I clicked that, and then it created some channels. And then I remember some nodes which are still around. Rompot, for example, was my first channel back in the days in 2018. It's a little scary because the end of the day, I think people should do it the other way around. First smarten up and then put some sets, and not the other way around how I did.
But that's the eagerness, right? For someone who's technical, it's great to try it out.
Yeah,
but I understand what you say. You're right.
But does Kasa still provide these nodes then? Because I'm a Kasa user also.
Not.
But I saw something on the website, but I couldn't find on the real node, right?
No, they deprecated. I'm not sure when that was exactly. I think it must be end of 2019 or so. So they launched another hardware model. I think that could be a Pi 4, Kasa HODL 2. Yeah. And then they went into what they do now is custodial services, so multi-sig, 3 or 5, etc. And they're pretty cool. So they're still very entrenched with the Lightning Network and with Bitcoin, and there is plenty of cool stuff they're offering, but no nodes anymore.
Cool.
No. Well, Umbro has the Bitcoin machine lately. I think last year. Yeah. But that's exactly. I think it has a Raspberry in it.
I think so too.
Yeah, but you are like a real OG then within the Lightning Network. And what is the most stunning thing that you have seen in the Lightning Network as up to now?
So I think on a very macro level, so on a community level, if I'm allowed to answer twofold. So on a community level, what I love the most is that people, even though node runners are somewhat competing with each other, that we are so helpful with each other. That is something what's making, I think, what's really making a difference and helping not only people new to the space, but also old OGs, as Stef called it. We still don't have all the answers. All of us are hitting some obstacles every now and then, and the community is always there. And that is what I love about the community. On the macro level, the stuff, what is just blowing my mind is what Jack Mallers and Strike, etc., is doing for emerging countries. And I'm not only talking about El Salvador, which is a lot in the news, but possible other countries, Argentina, etc. And those type of possibilities for people who really need it, not who play around with it like we do, but they really they need it because it's remittance is just too expensive, and Lightning just provides a solution to their challenges, and I love that kind of macro stuff.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. And it's I don't know for you, but it's also helping me if I'm talking to someone who needs to be orange pilled, and when I'm using one of the anecdotes from Strike, or I also send some money to someone in El Salvador. It always helps. If you tell that story, it always helps someone to get them really orange pilled, and to make it very clear that Bitcoin needs to succeed, right?
Exactly.
And if you look at the future, how do you see the Lightning Network evolve in the coming 1 or 2 years? More user friendly and of course more education. What do you think?
It goes hand in hand. I think all of us here agree that it's not something you can wrap around your head in like 2-3 hours, read an article, watch a video, and then you got it, and then it clicks, right? It takes time, it takes a lot of investment, and not everyone has that motivation or the time even at hand or the capabilities to dig through GitHub articles or check 100 YouTube videos and spend all the day in Telegram groups and talking to people who want to do rings and force closes and all that stuff. So it's lots of technical depth on a marketing and education level, which I think is going to be necessary to succeed. The second one, Edward, if we don't get more adoption from a consumer perspective, then we are going to continue to send around sats, rebalance sats between nodes, and that's fun in games, but it's not really creating lots of value. So I think we need consumer adoption, and that comes when it really solves something like those big macro plays for emerging countries.
But they don't have to keep track of a lot of media, I think they only have to watch our show, right?
Yeah, of course. You get everything out of here.
Yeah, of course. Just watch Connect the World and you're done, man.
Yeah.
And exactly. But talking a bit about that, what do you think about monetizing innovations with Lightning, like podcasting 2.0 and new Lightning video project? Why do we need this except for more adoption?
I think it's tricky to speak about political heavy loaded topics like censorship, but I don't think Connect the World has any provocative or government provocative topics in it. But there are plenty of creators out there across the world which are, possibly, potentially suffering under oppression by the government or by whatever reason. And them being disconnected from their funding, from their liquidity, from their living is something what is, I think, is a strong motivator for people getting into Bitcoin and getting into Lightning as well. So you have a controversial podcast, you have a controversial type of content you create, let it be visual or audio, it doesn't matter. But if you don't get the funding, if PayPal cuts your funding, you're stranded. And I think Bitcoin connects those people and allows creators and audience to appreciate and pay recognition.
Yeah, exactly. And you were talking about the merchants and the use case of really using Satoshis earlier. And do you think all merchants are capable of accepting Lightning right now, or is it still too difficult for most people?
Yeah, difficult from a technical standpoint. I would say there is no barrier. You need to have power and you need to have internet connection, right? And that is, I think, I would say that most of the countries, even the underdeveloped countries, are doing big strides in connectivity as well. Let it be in Africa or rural areas of India, you have internet is your life straw. Power, not so much. It's a little trickier, at least from a stability standpoint. But if you don't have power, you cannot pay with Visa or MasterCard as well. So that, from a technical standpoint, Edward, I think we have all it needs. There are ready-made solutions, and we have a community of node runners who are out there willing to help. Right? We are not all selling consultancy. We are doing a lot of stuff freebie based. I've seen one of the most striking things in PlebNet, which Madeleine was mentioning last one of your last episodes. I've seen one node runner building a Telegram channel who's building a chain to El Salvador. It's called VS. He's called in Telegram and on Twitter. And I don't know how many hundred node runners we have there. We are there to help. We can help with liquidity. We can help with technical knowledge. Yeah. We bring nodes to the people. And so, no, I don't think there is any good excuse to say no to a Lightning channel, a Lightning payment option for a merchant.
But if you have to think about some technical barriers that needs to be overcome, can you think of some of them or?
Yeah, I think the custodial stuff, or the non-custodial stuff, is what merchants keep at bay, because what Jack Mallers in his famous talks to the IMF used the analogy of, I think it was nachos and peanuts. Mm-hmm. And what today happens, I'm going with my cell phone, I go to a merchant and I pay with Lightning. What they have then is BTC, they have Bitcoin. Yeah. What do they do with that? Right? How do you in fiat world? It goes. They are very comfortable with it. Okay, I have euros now, or zloty, or whatever. I have them. I can bring them to my bank, or I transfer them to my bank. Someone takes care of them. If they lose them, they pay me back. Right? There is some custodial security in securing your funds, and as a merchant, you need to be on top of your funds, because otherwise you cannot buy your goods. What happens with your Bitcoin? So do I have it on my cell phone? Do I have it in my computer? Where is it? How can I be secure no one's stealing it, right? And that requires you as a merchant, and if you have a small mom and pop shop, reading the Bitcoin standard and watching Andreas's videos on YouTube just to know how do I manage my sats is a little lot to ask. So I think there was your question to Madeleine as well, there will be on Lightning, there will be more custodial solutions, I think, to take some of that fear, some of that management heavy burden away from merchants.
Yeah, so it's creating also a whole new segment for companies to arise to fill in those gaps.
Totally.
Yeah, all for adoption. And well, Germany is one of the countries with the most Lightning nodes. And what do you notice about the Bitcoin Lightning adoption in the neighborhood where you live? Any merchants nearby, or not?
I'm a little self-critic here, but I see there is lots of improvement, especially in the area where I live in. People are generally with people I mean both merchants and consumers, a little hesitant to use electronic payment. I know how often I was arguing with cab drivers from the airport of like, yeah, my credit card machine is broken, or in restaurants they still want cash because they're afraid of this 1.1 or whatever Visa charges commission fee. So, or they don't quote me. Well, you can quote me on that, but maybe cash also helps to put some stuff away from the taxes, from the government. I don't know what their motivation is, but there's generally a lot of resistance against digital payment. So now add on top that Bitcoin stuff they don't really understand, and what do I need? Why do you pay with that? Just give me those 30 euros and be done with it, right? So I think to just see my close neighborhood, Edward, I think there is lots of stuff I could personally do better to drive adoption. I'm harassing merchants of like, I don't pay with cash, and then say, EC card only. Okay, then I'm not your customer today, and then just walking away. Or when I see websites only offering Visa, I keep sending them an email in my confirmation that offering them like, hey, have you guys checked out Lightning? Have you checked out Fulmo? They do consultancy services. Or ping me. I'm your customer, but I'm happy to send you some follow-up links. It's slow. Germans are slow, Edward. And that's something what's in my neighborhood as well.
Yeah, it's typical German thing, I think. What you already mentioned, it's a cash-based company still. But
and it's nice to have some kind of examples, right? So we have someone in the community with who is a merchant and has BTC Pay running. So it would be nice that it's that it goes automatically, so you have one merchant and then the whole street.
That would be ideal, and that is why I'm back to the earlier questions. Why I have a second node. I have BTC Pay installed there, even though I'm not a merchant. But I want to get into those things to really understand what could be some barriers, what could be some concerns, and if merchants I'm talking to are asking me, hey, but how does X, Y, and Z work? I have a first-hand experience and I can help them to address those fears. I don't want to laugh about them. I want to take them serious, and that can only work if you really get into the trenches by yourself.
Yeah. And if you think about when you started building your first node, what would you have done differently today?
I think when you're looking back at your previous former younger self and you don't think you've been an idiot, then you're still an idiot today. And I think I could have avoided lots of maybe shortcuts or mistakes. However, I'm a big proponent of saying that it's fine to make mistakes. Just don't do them twice, or at least not the same. And so I think from the early days, Stef, when looking to Edward, who was one of my first people I pinged about, hey, Edward, you don't know me, but do you want a channel? And then we built a submarine swap. So basically something which is totally against the Bitcoin credo of don't trust, verify.
Trust.
We just did a balanced channel without a balanced channel opening. We just sent something and pushed them and then sent them back on chain. that is something that was a little reckless. And I think I wouldn't do this today anymore. But fortunately, we have better tools to be a little bit more secure.
Exactly. Yeah. And what Lightning implementation do you work now? LND or C Lightning or async?
Very toxic topic these days. As the last couple of weeks, many of you in the audience and yourself probably seen what's going on between LND and other implementations. I'm running LND on the main node, and that is fine so far. I'm not at the size of a zero-free routing node who is dealing with an 80 gigabyte channel database. And I think the biggest machine he got on cloud is still smoking hot from all the load. I'm not at that size, so I'm fine with LND. And most of the tools I use are built for LND and not available on other implementations. But on my second node, I have a double setup. So Raspberry Blitz allows you to run C Lightning and LND at the same time. Still separate. It's not one channel. It's two separate channel management systems. But I want to get more comfortable how C Lightning works. I find this very interesting.
Cool. And what management tool do you prefer to use with your node and why?
So the past 2 months, I would say, it is something which NGU Technologies, at least his claim is, it should help node runners to go back into their hammock and enjoy their drinks instead of sitting 12 hours a day in front of their keyboard and micromanage their node. So it's called LND. It's now part of the package for Umbrel. You can still grab it by yourself in GitHub, and I'm shamelessly promoting it because it's super cool. It maybe doesn't look that pretty. We're still currently developing. A couple of people joined the channel and offer now some UI work. But what's essential is what's happening in the background, and the rebalancing is really strong. It looks at where does the flow go in or out, grab it from where it goes out and put it to the channels where it needs, which if you would do this manually requires hours and hours of work every week. And this stuff does it automatically. So I find this very
use it also,
powerful.
but I'm still on autopilot. So I need to dig a bit deeper into this application. But autopilot does the trick for me now, but it's very interesting indeed.
Yeah, I like this a lot. I think next launch, he already mentioned that in the next iteration, he wants to implement fee automation as well, which is another complex matter of LND is like fees. What are the right ones? How do I keep the fees for the different node types out there? Currently, it has only fee recommendation, which is good enough for me. I'm not the set and forget guy, but if you are running a node and you want to do and learn by a few steps, but hand lots of operation to a tool, I think LNDG does great stuff.
Yeah. And in the Umbrel community, I saw you wrote an article together with Osito about Tor and ClearNet and how to set up hybrid mode. Can you explain in which circumstances this is used, and can you come up with a situation when privacy is not a concern for a node operator and he can use ClearNet?
Yeah, I think that is one super interesting and maybe even critical element to get your head around, because what is the most anonymous, most privacy safe setup is just go Tor only, right? Then no one knows where you live, no one knows even the country where you're in. However, Tor only is a centralized network as well. So you are relying on something which is run by Tor by a couple of people over there, and you're relying on bridges and relay systems. So it's a little risky to go full Tor only. Having hybrid allows you to mitigate some of that risk. Plus, it just is way faster. So you're faster. Your connection times are faster, your routing will go faster, and you will be better connected and have greater, better consumer experience. The last item to look into is maybe you can hide your ClearNet IP with the VPN, which is a bit more technical, but that article has sections about it as well. I recommend for everyone to just make yourself a little bit more comfortable, more familiar with that setup.
Cool. And what advice can you give the beginners that want to run a substantial Lightning node?
Don't be shy. Ask for help. We're a wonderful community of quirky, interesting, funny, nerdy, newbie type of people, and we're all happy to help. So get engaged, get into Telegram, get into Twitter, get to know people, ask for help, and then you will make it.
Yeah. I think
nice. That's a nice wrap up.
Yeah, nice wrap up. And I think you nailed it with that one. I think especially don't be afraid. Don't have fear.
Exactly.
And just get started. Yeah. I think that's the best advice indeed. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we had a lot of more questions, but we hope to do it another time if you would like to come back to the show one day.
Of course.
Cool.
All right.
Verbindt de wereld.
And we have, last week we had Jack Everett from Thunder Games as our guest. And we asked Jack to come up with a question for you. Edward will play the audio file and then you have the time to answer it.
Here it comes.
Yes, I would like to ask, if you could add Bitcoin to any game, which game would you choose?
Ooh, okay.
Ooh.
Gaming. I'm a Vivid gamer, not that much anymore, but I think where it would make the most sense is in something like Call of Duty. I think I've never tried it by myself, but there are competition games, there is esport, there is in-game buying, there is DLC stuff, maybe also potential for trading. And betting. I think people are betting on private competition as well, and I think Lightning would allow some more suitable payment infrastructure in between gamers.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, and you have already Counter-Strike Go, which are using Lightning on Zibody. So
Zibody, exactly.
Yeah, cool.
And Mind Gox tournaments every month.
Yeah. I like their name. This is really nice anecdotal type of brand name.
Yeah. Well, great. Thanks for your question. And next time we have a new guest. It's Severin Bueller, also known as Sebi. We know him from LNRouter.app, a tool that helps node operators making informed decisions with data, of course. We want to ask him a question from you. Which question can we ask him?
So Sebi, if you think about in the next 3 to 5 years, the Lightning Network will continue attract and pick up steam, but we will also see lots of liquidity and lots of interest coming in from venture capitalists and from big corp players who wanted to join the game and bring connectivity and liquidity. What do you think are the pros and cons of those big players joining in, and what are some potential knock-on effects for your regular mom and pop Jane and Joe node runners? How will they be affected?
Cool.
Nice.
And I think they have to compete with us, right? With us early starters with running the Lightning node. So maybe we are around the table with them within 5 years. That will be nice.
Yeah, maybe that's our exit strategy. Stef.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Cool.
世界をつなぐ
Well, thank you, Hakuna, for being with us. It was very insightful. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. That was really nice. I loved chatting to you.
Yeah. We had fun, man. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'll see you in a future episode. I think we have to invite you on a future episode.
And perhaps also, if you would like, you can participate in a Satoshi Radio Rings of Fire one time. I don't know if you saw the bot Jury made, the ring bot.
Excellent work.
Yeah.
Big shout out. Really cool stuff.
Cool, man.
That kind of initiatives are great to see. Yeah.
I love those.
Cool.
Well, thanks again.
Yeah, it was good seeing you, and you have a wonderful next episode as well. I enjoy your show, and big kudos to you. I really learn a lot from you guys, so thank you for that as well.
Magnificent.
Right,
yeah,
great. Thank you very much.
And thanks for listening, and thanks to all members participating in the Satoshi Radio Rings of Fire. And of course, thanks to everyone helping to connect the world with us. If you would like to support us, then in our mission, donate using the bot in our Telegram group. And don't forget to like and share our content on your favorite platform or Podcasting 2.0 app. Keep those notes running, sats flowing, and rings burning. And see you all next week with Sevi on this same Lightning channel. Goikin, Hakuna.
Zdravo.
Tschüss zusammen.